Welcome to English Podcast. Subscribe our channel for more update.
Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever dreamed of being fluent in English, but you just felt totally lost on where to even start? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Think of this explainer as your personal roadmap, taking you from those first kind of shaky words all the way to speaking with real confidence. Let's kick things off with a really important idea. Fluency. It's not some magic trick for a few lucky people. It's a real, achievable dream. And the good news is, it's possible for anyone. And that means you. The path might look long, I get it, but it's a journey you can absolutely complete. All right, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with those first steps for beginners, then we'll build a solid foundation, master the core skills, and wrap it all up with a daily plan that actually works for you. Okay, let's jump in right where every single fluent speaker once started, the very beginning. You know, this stage is all about getting past those initial hurdles and fears that can feel, well, pretty overwhelming. So, what's the biggest thing that holds people back? You might think it's grammar or maybe vocabulary, but it's not. It's fear. That fear of saying something wrong, of being judged, maybe even of people laughing. Look, that feeling is totally normal, but it's the very first wall we've got to knock down. And this right here, this is the mindset shift we need. Mistakes aren't the enemy. They're your teachers. Every single mistake isn't a failure. It's a lesson. It's proof that you're trying, that you're learning, that you're growing. Honestly, embracing your mistakes is the absolute fastest way to get better. So, rule number 1 for beginners, focus on communication, not perfection. Seriously, your goal isn't to sound like you swallowed a grammar book. It's just to get your idea across. Even if it's a broken sentence, if the other person understands you, that's a huge win. Okay, so you're focusing on just communicating. Awesome. But how do you make sure you actually keep improving? Well, this next part is all about building a really strong foundation, the kind that will support you for the long haul and, stop you from getting stuck later on. This metaphor really just says it all, doesn't it? It's like going to the gym once and then not exercising for a month. You wouldn't expect to see results, right? Well, language learning is exactly the same. Fluency is built with these small daily efforts. I'm telling you, 15 minutes every single day is so much more powerful than a huge 3-hour study session once a month. So what exactly are you building with this daily practice? It comes down to these 3 pillars. First, grammar basics. You don't need to be a grammar expert, but understanding simple tenses and how sentences are put together, that's key. Second, core vocabulary. Just focus on the most common words, the ones you'll actually use. And finally, pronunciation. Paying attention to this from the start will save you so much hassle down the road. All right, with that foundation getting stronger, now we can move on to the fun stuff, the active skills. These are the parts of the language that lets you have those real back and forth conversations. And here's the secret weapon, really. A lot of us think speaking is the most important skill, but it all, and I mean all, starts with listening. Think about it. Kids spend months just listening before they ever say a word. You have to soak up the sounds, the rhythm, the patterns of the language. Your brain needs all that input before it can start creating output. But here's the thing. Becoming a good listener is an active process. You can't just let the English wash over you like background noise. You've got to engage with it. Pause that podcast and repeat a sentence out loud. Try to sing along with your favorite English song. When you do this, you're training your ear and your mouth at the exact same time. Of course, after all that listening, you've got to face the big one, speaking. And this is where so many of us feel like our brain just freezes, right? You know the words, you can understand what people are saying, but then it's your turn to talk and crickets. Nothing comes out. It's a super common feeling. So how do we get past that? With a clear plan. Step 1, start small. Talk to the safest person you know, yourself. Just narrate what you're doing during the day. Then get used to the sound of your own voice speaking English by recording it on your phone. Finally, find some practice partners. But the most important rule of all, don't wait for perfect. Just start speaking. Fluency comes from using English, not just thinking about it. And that idea of using the language brings us to a really powerful concept, something that can speed up everything we've talked about, and that's immersion. But look, this isn't about having to move to another country. It's a mindset. It's about creating an English-speaking world for yourself, right where you are. This right here shows that critical mental shift. On one side, you have translating in your head. It's slow, it feels like a chore. On the other side is the goal, thinking directly in English. That's the fluency mindset. You see a cat, and your brain just goes, cat. There's no middle step, no translation. It's just an instant connection. And the great news is you can build this mindset with super simple daily actions. Change your phone's language to English. Label stuff around your house. Listen to English podcasts while you're commuting. All these little habits start to change English from this subject you study into just a part of your everyday life. Okay, but what happens when you've been doing all this stuff and then one day you just feel like you've stopped improving? It's like hitting a wall. This is a super common problem for learners, and we're going to talk about exactly how to break right through it. Does this sound familiar at all? You know, you made all this fast progress when you were a beginner, and now it just feels like you're stuck in mud. You can have a basic conversation, sure, but you don't feel like you're actually getting any better. If that's you, trust me, you are not alone.
This has a name, actually. It's called the intermediate plateau, and it is a totally normal part of the journey. The good news? You are still making progress. It's just that the gains are smaller and harder to notice. The key is just to recognize what's happening and switch up your strategy a bit.
So what's the new strategy? It's all about pushing yourself just outside your comfort zone. Here's a good rule of thumb. If you're comfortable, you're probably not growing. So watch a movie that's a little bit harder. Instead of giving short one-sentence answers, try telling a whole story. These little challenges are what will get you unstuck in moving forward again. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. Let's create a simple, practical, daily plan that you can literally start using today. Here it is, your daily fluency plan in 5 points. 1. Be consistent. Think 15 minutes a day, not 3 hours once a week. 2. Embrace mistakes. They're just proof you're trying. 3. Mix it up. Don't just listen, speak, read, and write too. 4. Set small goals. Aim for tiny wins that keep you motivated. And 5. Surround yourself. Make English a part of your world. That's it. That's the formula. And that brings us to the end. The whole journey, from beginner to fluent, it's not about one giant leap. It's built on 1,000 tiny, consistent steps. So the final question isn't about what you'll do tomorrow or next week. It's about right now. What is the one small step you will take today to move yourself just a little bit closer to fluency?